The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so thrilled to have on the show an incredible band that you're going to be hearing a lot more of, and you should be going to see live. Hippies and Cowboys. I've got Aaron, Victor, Scott, and Kevin on the show. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Hey, man. Good to be here. Thanks a lot for having us.
It's so great to have you guys on. I've been hearing the talk about you guys, certainly heard your music, and the groundswell from Leipers Fork, Tennessee.
Our home. We love it out there.
And so, you guys were kind of discovered at Fox Locke.
We were. We started playing down there about 2.5 years ago, hitting the open mics,
Yeah.
I had gone down there actually probably 4 or 5 years ago and fell in love with just the atmosphere and the aesthetic of the place. It's like being in a Hallmark movie or something when you're down there,
And also all the people that just wander in and jam.
Yeah, so I decided one day that we were going to go down there and play the open mics, and it just turned into a lot of people really digging our music and really becoming good friends and supporting us, and that's pretty much how all that started down there.
Well, and it seems like too, Victor, it's like things have kind of blown up since then, especially with the new EP coming out September 27th. What do you got to say about this?
I mean, we've been working hard on the music and trying to write, really good songs and parts, and we've worked really hard, jamming out all the time, trying to get some organic, real songs for you guys on this EP. So, hope you guys like it.
Well, I think everybody's loving it, and especially with, we were talking about some of the influences also, and Kevin, you can address this too, to where you guys have like some of the Allman Brothers feel, but some of the Aerosmith. I mean, you can tell the influences, but you guys aren't copying anybody.
No, not particularly. I mean, we have a lot of influences that go back to everything from Aerosmith and Lynyrd Skynyrd to the old school Motown, soul, Stax Records, tunes. And I mean, these are songs that we've been listening to basically since we were little kids up till now. So the fact that we get to embrace those influences and turn it into this very organic admixture of different sounds is very, very cool.
Well, and it really shows too, because I mean, and once again, we were talking before we came in studio, and Scott, obviously you're working hard on the drums on these songs.
Hardest work.
And it shows, and including with the kit you have and the special sticks.
Yes, I've got a Vistalite kit, 1976 Bicentennial Ludwig, that this guy found, red, white, and blue.
What a band member.
Hard brand.
Anything I can do to help the people.
How else is a drummer going to feed a family of four?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, he could be down on Broadway hitting buckets in his spare time,
Come on.
But I mean, it sounds great though, Scott.
Right. I mean, we're all playing vintage gear, so that really made a difference. So, like the guy said, it's a very organic sound. And the older drums, the older cymbals, the percussion, that all feeds right into it.
It really does. I was going to bring it up too, Aaron, to where, all of the songs on this EP, Fork in the Road, it's like each one stands on its own. Like you guys didn't put any fluff in here. And I know you said you're already working on new songs, working on, the full album for next year. But you're going to do a limited run vinyl on this one too, right?
Absolutely. There's going to be some special things in there that, everybody's going to enjoy. Hopefully, we can make it as good as our last vinyl, which, if anybody got our last vinyl, we really went all out on our first record, and did the whole gatefold and had all the crazy pictures in it. And if there was any kind of insert that you could have, we made sure it was in there,
But I think that's why also, and I think it's cool, Victor, to where you guys call your fans the Dreamers. And I mean, how did you come up with that name for them?
Well, that's a funny story, actually.
Yeah, it sure is.
We were sitting there at a bar with our friend Aubrey Preston.
In Muscle Shoals.
In Muscle Shoals, yeah. Me and Aaron went down there, and Aubrey was showing us the whole magic of the shoals and stuff, because we really wanted to tap into that vibe, So we were just sitting there drinking a couple beers and, thinking about, you know how it is. But it just kind of came out and came to us, we're like, this is kind of like, we're dreamers, so why can't they be dreamers with us?
Everybody that's got, everybody in life has a dream of some sort, it's like, you don't just have any ambitions in life, maybe some people do, but for us, we're always been dreamers, since we were little kids dreaming about being musicians, and it came to fruition. You know, you work hard and your dreams come true.
Yeah. Well, and you guys are totally making it come true with all the airplay and the attention you're getting. Also, I got to bring this up, not a small thing, opening up for Blackberry Smoke.
Oh, we're super happy. We love those guys, and they've been one of my favorite bands for a long time, and it was really
They
cool
kind of
to
use
be able
vintage
to-
gear too.
Oh, kind of.
Little bit.
Everything they do is vintage, I feel.
Just about.
Yeah.
But it seems like it
They got a
fits
great collection.
that you guys fit with them musically.
I'd like to say so. It was we opened for them at the Shed in Maryville, Tennessee, and it was a really good fit, I think. All of their fans had nothing but great things to say about us, and we're really thankful for those guys for bringing us on.
Well, you know, and speaking of which too, Kevin, I got to bring up back there to where, you know, you guys are going to be playing the Pilgrimage Festival, you know, in Franklin, Tennessee, coming up in September 28th. But then also you guys have, you know, you're playing in Bristol, you've got Austin gigs. I mean, you got some big shows coming up, and rumors are maybe with Goo Goo Dolls or somebody.
Oh yeah. This October we're going to be on the road for about a month. Is that right? Yeah, about a month straight, going between obviously Nashville, Texas, California, Anaheim, and I believe, is Utah on the bill?
That's part of it.
Part of it, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So we've got some very, very exciting dates and some cities that we've never been to, which we get to check out and just see these different parts of the country.
Taking the Leipers Fork sound with you.
Absolutely.
So it seems like, Scott, this is kind of leading up to eventually the international tour then, right?
As soon as we can get there. As soon as we can get there, buddy.
And one more drum.
That's the dream, baby.
one drum at a time.
So, you know, I got to talk to you about this to where, you know, Kokomo, Indiana.
Yeah.
You know, and once again, I'm sure the rest of the guys can talk about this to where, you know, you go in there and you're talking with the band and go, hey, you know, I'm gonna be back in a few months and hire you guys. You were talking to David Nail's band.
David Ball's band.
David, thank you.
David
I was so
Ball's
close.
band. So yeah, David Ball came to my hometown of Kokomo, Indiana in 2019, and he played at my uncle's honky tonk. So of course it was easy for me to get the opening gig. You know? It works when you know people.
Yeah, you still got to be good.
And so you know, I opened for these guys, and after the show, we're all in the backstage area, just kind of, you know, hanging out and doing things you do back in the green room, you know, and Scott Metco was extremely nice to me and very inviting, and you know, I just decided to take a shot, you know, and take my chance, and I did. And I walked up to him and was like, hey, you know, I'm going to be moving to Nashville in like 2 or 3 months, and I'm going to be playing some shows, and I really need a band, you know. How would you feel about maybe you guys be in my band? Talking to the Grammy Award winning, you know, band, trying to steal them from this guy.
That's like old school blues guys.
Well, it works.
That's like what B.B. King and Bobby Blue Bland and all those guys used to do to each other.
Yeah.
They would hire away the best members, and that's what you did.
That's pretty much what I did, and you know, it worked to my advantage, you know, because me and Scott have been playing together for over 5 years now, you know, still going strong. From one fateful night in the small town of Kokomo, Indiana.
But I mean, it's incredible too to see that, you know, starting from there and then coming to Nashville. And a lot of people do that, but also to be able to make those dreams come true.
It's been a long, long road, but you know, I wouldn't change a minute of it. It's been an amazing experience, and I'm excited to see where the future takes us, you know.
Well, and I like the evolution of your sound too. And Victor, we were talking about this earlier, to where going from more horn-based, kind of a soul Memphis sound, and then certainly on this new EP with Fork in the Road, to me it's more raw rock and roll. I mean, it's really, which I love, with the harmonica, with the guitars, with the drums, the vocals.
Yeah.
I mean, they're catchy songs.
Right. We're trying to tap into more of that rock and roll now, you know, because before when we had the horns, we were kind of chasing this different sound, like a more classic Muscle Shoals kind of horns, you know, bass
Memphis.
sound. Yeah. But now, you know, we've been playing all these shows and got the guitars cranked, you know, I got doing these solos and stuff, and it's kind of like pushing more for that, you know, 70s rock, the Aerosmith, the, you know, the Zeppelin, that kind of vibe, and we're trying to fuse that with, you know, all the stuff we love, which is, you know, like the Muscle Shoals and that energy as well, and trying to, you know, get it all together.
And there's a bit of, you know, there's a bit of all that still in there, you know, from our early days of the Memphis and the Muscle Shoals stuff, you know, the horns. There's still pieces of that music in the new music that we're doing, you know, but it's just not as cliche, I guess you would say, you know, as I grew up loving Stax records,
Right.
and, you know, all the horn bands, you know, and so that was always my dream, to have a big band with a giant horn section, and I did it for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I made it happen.
And not an easy feat in this day and age.
No, and you know, it's not easy
gotta
to
have a
have.
bigger
We had
band.
2 full-time
Oh,
horn
yeah.
players, you know, that like nobody just has full-time horn players.
Right.
Everybody hires
Oh, yeah.
horn sections and stuff like that, but we had full-time, everywhere we went, we had horns, and they were in the band, and you know, it was a really good time, and I'm glad that we experienced that, but now we're just kind of, as I feel like everybody should, kind of trying to evolve and chase a different sound. You know, you kind of want to change it up each record. And so this one, we're really going for the just raw, gritty, high energy rock and roll music. You know,
Well, and,
good old American rock.
And I'll tell you
roll.
what I think you achieved that a lot of bands can't, but you guys did, is a live sound. You know, it
Absolutely.
sounds live on the EP with Fork in the Road. It's not, you know, I think it's hard to keep that energy because you guys are known for your live shows.
Everything we did was very intentional on this record, you know, as far as the instrumentation, all the instruments we used, we made sure it was exactly what we were chasing. We took the time to try all kinds of different amps, all kinds of
Maybe
different
a Magnetone
guitars,
here and there.
You know, a Magnetone
Oh,
here
yeah.
and there, a 68 Deluxe, you know, some
Couple
Marshalls,
Gibsons.
a few
Couple
Gibsons, you
vintage
know,
Gibsons.
and we had, thankfully, our buddy Aubrey, he has an unbelievable collection of vintage gear that we had access to
Yeah.
down there in Leipers Fork, and you know, he just gave us free range to all of it, so we just tried everything, you know, and we didn't spare any time, you know,
Oh, yeah.
to basically do anything that we didn't want to do. You know, we made sure that everything we did was a very intentional sound, and it was the way we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And you know, that was just something that we hadn't done previously in the studio, because most of the time on an independent budget, you know, you're in the studio and you're working and you just feel like you have to get as much done as possible.
Right.
And sometimes you neglect the time that you actually need to make it sound the way you want it to sound. 'Cause sometimes you record all this music and then you get done and you know, you're listening back and you're like, just doesn't sound the way that I thought it would, you know, and so
It's hard.
we made sure that this time we took our time and we set aside the time to just really experiment and get everything the way we wanted it.
Well, and I think it was so incredible too is that you guys discovered in Leipers Fork, Tennessee, and then recorded this EP and an album there as well.
Absolutely. Well, that was part of like the intentional plan, you know. It was, like I said, everything about this record was very intentional. And we have some very great fans and friends and family down in Leipers Fork, and we felt that, you know, it's where we really, I mean, we had been working in Nashville for 3 or 4 years prior
Right.
to being down in Leipers Fork.
Which is still making a name for yourself that early
Yeah.
in Nashville. It's usually a 10-year plan. You guys like cut that in half.
Well, that's what everybody tells me, but you know, I just feel like if this is what you're meant to do, you kind of burn the ships and you're all in and you just do it. And if you just look at it with that attitude and you just go about it with this is your only option, I
Right.
feel like a lot of people still have day jobs and try and play music at night, you know, but it's like this is our full-time job. This
Right.
is the only thing we do.
And it shows.
And you know, so if you're intentional about what you set out to do, you know, you can make things happen a lot faster.
Well, and also you make things happen faster because you got to come up with some cool merch to go
got
along
that right.
with, you know, the great EP dropping on September 27th. So I understand, you know, that the guy is going to be modeling a lot of the new merch on stage.
We are. Kevin's gonna be in our brand new bikini set.
By popular request.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of thought has been put into the merch then also.
Absolutely.
Because
You
that's
know-
also what feeds the band on the road.
Well, that's our brand. That's our everything. You know, it's a huge part of our brand. Our merchandise is kind of cultish, if you will. It's like the Grateful Dead had. You know, everybody knows the skull.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the Grateful Dead merch. It's like that's kind of what we're trying to create with our merch. Is just very, like I said, intentional and. You know, when you see our logo, everybody knows what it is and who it's representing, you know, and that's what we're really trying to work into our merch game. And we're some merch selling fools, let me tell you.
You know, it's not bad either when you're featured in People magazine.
No,
That never
it's really
hurts.
not.
I
That
mean,
really
it's like
helps.
when- somehow it's like, oh, Hippies and Cowboys. I know that name now.
You know, funny story about that. And we'll get off topic here. He actually wasn't even in that photo shoot for People magazine. He was supposed to be, but he was late. Like, I don't know what happened.
Couldn't
I
find
guess.
a shirt again?
It
Or?
was,
The night before, we all like partied it up. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go home, take a shower, and get rejuvenated for the next day. And then they're like, dude, 30 minutes, man. People Magazine, we gotta be here. And I'm like, 30 minutes? Are you kidding me?
He's an hour away, you know?
So I'm like, all right, I'll
So you're
try
saying
to.
the limo couldn't get you in time?
Exactly.
The limo couldn't get me in time.
I told him to
They
hop
weren't
on
on
the
Rockstar
helicopter.
Hour, okay?
Well, but also then for the next one, you know, in People Magazine, all the other magazines, you know, Rolling Stone, you'll make those.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully I'll make it
We're
to
gonna
that
try.
shoot.
He's gonna try his best.
You're gonna have to
I
have
know.
the professional person that wakes him up. Victor, it's time to get up
You
for
know,
the shoot.
Eric, he barely made it here.
Well, you know, and we're glad he did.
I need
though.
my beauty sleep, okay?
Well, I want to make sure for our viewers, for the EP coming out, for the shows, obviously Pilgrimage Festival, all the other great shows, for the website and everything, where do viewers need to go? Website, social media.
You can go to hippiesandcowboysband.com to our website, or you can just type into Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anything, Hippies and Cowboys Band.
I'll tell you
Pretty
what,
easy.
and be sure, you know, with this releasing, it's going to be a limited edition vinyl also, which I personally recommend because you know how great a job they did on the last one. So this one's going to be stellar also. But add it to your playlist, add all the songs to your playlist because they're all going to be hits. Such a solid rock band, you know, reminiscent of some of our old favorite bands, but also with a new, younger feel to it. And they're really bringing it. You're going to love the songs as much as I do. Fork in the Road, get it. It's coming out September 27th. Be one of the dreamers. Hippies and Cowboys, thanks for joining the show, guys.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you, man. God bless y'all.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.